What's up everybody, Vince Verico here. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I was cleaning up the Avalanche studio, getting ready to shoot another video, and something came in the mail. It is what I believe to be one of the best vlogging cameras on the market today for how cheap it is, how portable it is, how light it is, and the capabilities of the camera. That camera is the EOS M50. Getting ready to talking about this camera, I just unboxed this thing. I unboxed it, put it together, and I'm testing it out. You're seeing my live test of this thing. And that's kind of what I wanted this video to be. So right now I'm shooting in 1080p at 60 frames per second, and I am loving how it tracks my face. It is right on my face with that dual pixel autofocus, and I love it. I feel like I can move around and it's really following. Like that's really, I can see the box following my face. It's really nice. One of the big reasons why I picked up this camera is because I've been shooting in 4K for a long time since I started the channel, and I decided I wanted to switch down to 1080p because the quality on this thing is awesome for the 1080p, and 4K files are gigantic. I filled up 2 hard drives now with videos. Not worth it. 1080p will do you fine. Big tip here, you do not need 4K. Just shoot in 1080p. Though I'm switching down to 1080p, one of the things that made me pick this camera specifically was because it still had the ability to shoot in 4K. I'm not going to shoot all my stuff in 4K anymore, but I'm definitely going to shoot stuff like cinematic and B-roll in 4K because it gets that really nice detail. And like I said, right now I'm shooting in 1080p. You can see how wide it is on this 15-45 lens. I'm going to switch over to 4K to show you one of the downsides to the 4K on this camera. So here we are in the 4K mode. The first thing you're going to notice right off the bat is we are way more cropped in than we were before. And that's because the 4K mode actually crops in even further than the crop that's already on the camera. Now the EOS M50 has a CMOS sensor inside. It's a cropped mirrorless sensor that multiplies any lens put on it by 1.6 times. The stock lens that comes with the camera is a 15-45 millimeter. If you crop it in 1.6 times, that's going to give you a focal range of 24 to about 72. That's already the sensor in the camera. When you put it into 4K mode, you're going to crop it even further to a total crop of 2.56 times. That makes this lens a 38 to 115 millimeter, and that is not great for vlogging. The other thing that I'm noticing that's a downside to this 4K recording is it's not really focusing on my face well. It's kind of just trailing and not staying on me. And unfortunately that's because on this camera, the 4K doesn't have Canon dual pixel autofocus. And I wish they had that on there because that would make this camera almost bulletproof because this thing is amazing. So let me switch back over to 1080p and then we'll continue this video. So the last thing I wanted to touch on here in 1080p is how great this camera is for vlogging. As you can see, I can pick this up and put it on both sides of me, hold it out straight, and it gets a good frame of me, while also making sure if I wanted to put anyone else in frame that they could be. So this camera is perfect for that. And on top of that, it's super light. Like I can swing this thing up and down and all around, and my arm's not getting tired. I usually shoot with the Canon 90D, which is what the rest of this video is going to be shot on, because I'm going to talk about some of the actual physical parts of this camera. I think it's super heavy even with a 10-22 on it, and that lens is not an L series like the rest of the lenses I have. So this is super nice for vlogging and super nice for anyone who's trying to get out and do things with a camera that's not too invasive or too big. So let's hop over to the talking head part of this, and we'll get into the rest of the cool parts about this camera. All right, so let's get into some of the physical things about this camera. First of all, it's tiny, and I love how tiny it is. That's one of the biggest things about why this is a great vlogging camera. The second part is how cool this LCD screen is. It flips all the way out to the side, turns forward. You can really get a good shot of yourself with this. You can be easily handheld. You can hold this out and vlog yourself like this, no problem. It's got the great lens on it for it, and you can shoot at 1080p with no problem. This is my first mirrorless camera. I'd never had one before, and one of the things I really love about it is the fact that when you hit the play button to see your photos back or your videos back, you can view them both on the screen itself and through the viewfinder. I had never seen that before with mirrorless cameras, and I think that is crazy awesome. So that's one of the big ups about this camera that I really love about it, is the fact that you can take a picture with it and then instantly view your shot right there in the viewfinder. It's that electric viewfinder that's seeing the exact same thing that this LCD screen on the back is seeing. I love that about this camera. This camera can shoot in 3 different speeds. It can shoot at 4K at 24 frames per second. It can shoot in 1080p at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. And it can also shoot at 120 frames at 720. In 2020, no one's shooting 720p, so if I'm going to get nice buttery B-roll shots, I'm just going to stick to the 90. 90 has this camera on that, hands down. But aside from the 120 frames, this thing records some great quality video, and I think I'd definitely recommend for anyone who's trying to get into vlogging. I mentioned the autofocus this thing has already once, but let me mention it again. It has 143 points of dual pixel autofocus. That is one of Canon's biggest strengths for all of its cameras, and this thing has it all the way up to 1080p in recording, and also has those points for photography. I think that is unbelievable for a camera that is only $500. So I've mentioned some of the good things about this camera, but it does have some drawbacks. Number one, obviously, being that the 4K is cropped in 2.56 times compared to what the actual lens is, so that makes it very hard to vlog. But you can still shoot talking head videos, you can still shoot cinematic stuff in 4K, but it's just going to be a little bit hard to vlog with. The next thing that's a drawback for this camera is the amount of lenses it has. The EF M lens series doesn't have that many camera lenses, so it kind of makes it hard to pick a camera like this when you're thinking, well, all I can really do with it is shoot simple things and also vlog. However, there are some things you can do to remedy that. Number one is Sigma makes some great lenses that I think have saved the M series of Canon. And also there's an adapter you can get that will allow you to attach your EF and your EFS lenses. That adapter is on the way, and I will be reviewing it as soon as it gets here. It should be here any day now. And I'm excited to talk about that one too, because I think that extender, along with the Sigma lenses, really make this camera almost bulletproof. So that's it for all the internal things. You can go through some of the settings on top of the camera. There's special scene modes, there's creative modes, there's aperture priority. There's really cool things that this camera does for beginning photographers. If you don't know what you're doing, it'll teach you basically how to use the camera. Some of the other external things is a mic port for if you're vlogging, when I put a microphone on top. There's the hot shoe spot for the microphone. The microphone I use is the Moki MCM-1. It's 20 bucks on Amazon. If you're looking for a good microphone and you're not sure which one to pick, Amazon Moki MCM-1, 20 bucks. It'll be in the description. Other things, there's the nice dial on the front that allows you to adjust the aperture and the shutter speed. M-FN button adjusts the ISO speed. And there's also a record button to hit record video. Finally, on this side, there is an HDMI port as well as buttons down here, making this camera an all-in-one, easy to use for anyone. And I highly recommend it as a camera for someone who's looking to pack light, film video, take photography, or pick up a second camera. This thing can be perfect for someone who's new because there's so many different effects that you can use on the camera itself to help you shoot, as well as if you're trying to shoot in manual and you're not sure how to do it yet, the viewfinder on mirrorless cameras actually shows you the exact exposure based upon your aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. So when you're looking through it, what you're seeing is what the camera is going to take a picture of, and I think that's great for people who are new and don't understand how the ISO and shutter speed and aperture all work together. So that's my review on this camera. This is the Canon EOS M50, and I recommend this to anyone who's looking to pick up another camera to help vlog or shoot or anything. Realistically, this camera can do most of the things you want it to do. It's only $500, $350 if you're looking to get it without the lens on it. There's so many different lenses from Canon, Sigma, and also the adapter that you can attach any of your EF or EFS lenses to this camera. It's lightweight, it's 24.1 megapixels, and overall, just from having it just for the short time, I am in love, man. I honestly could see myself making this camera a shooter for a lot of things because it will do the things that I need it to do. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notified when I post videos. I'm super excited to tell you guys about some more gear that I've picked up in the last couple weeks. There's a few pieces of gear that I think a lot of photographers haven't seen or kind of overlook that could really help what they're doing with their photography or their videography. So stay tuned. Check out Andrew, check out Steve, check out the podcast, check out everything. Make sure you subscribe and like. Give them all the love because they seriously deserve it. And as always, I will be seeing you in the next one. Stay groovy. Peace.